Now, something interesting that I come across on a regular basis is that when people have an empty aquarium, then something like a scratch in the glass or a scuff on the cabinet is a major problem, because it's their focus. And then they're like, oh, I need a new tank. I can't set up the tank because there's a scratch on the glass or whatever, and I'm really anal and I hate stuff like that. And it's a really big problem. But it's absolutely amazing that when you start setting the tank up and you start making it look absolutely amazing, and there's colorful fish and beautiful coral and whatever you've got in your tank, all of a sudden that little scuff mark or the scratch in the glass just becomes absolutely invisible. Now, recently, well, it wasn't really recently, but one of the very nicest tanks that one of my customers had, and when you would see his tank, you would go, wow, this is the most beautiful tank I've ever seen. And then when I had to pull the tank down because he moved, I realized how scratched his glass was. His glass was terribly scratched, and it was a 10-year-old tank, and there's no way would you set that tank up. But the thing is that when the tank was set up, I didn't even actually see the scratches, because you're so distracted by all of the beauty that's in the tank. So sometimes those little anal stresses are really unfounded once the tank is actually set up and everything goes into context. And as a little conversation I was having earlier with Fritz, is that if I try to explain it to him in a way that he could understand, and he did understand this, is that if you met a girl and she had a little scratch on her arm, or maybe some track marks on her arm, then that's something that you're going to absolutely be distracted by. You're going to really notice those scratches. But if she was naked, you probably wouldn't notice the scratches at all, because you'd be very distracted by other things. Anyway, put a little comment on the bottom of this video and let us know any common experience that you may have. Did you have a scratch in your glass that you can live with, that you thought would absolutely ruin your life? Or are you a person that the scratch is the end of the world? Sort of like a new car too. When you get your first scratch on a new car, it's like the end of the world. But then scratch 6 or 7, you don't really care. Anyway, it's all very interesting and it's all very relative. So my advice is think long and hard before getting rid of your tank and the money that it costs to upgrade it, just for something that may actually be quite trivial or quite minor. But everyone's different, and maybe for you, if you've got the money and you know it's going to freak you out, then maybe it is good value for you. Or maybe you can live with that little scratch because you'll be diverted by or distracted by something more beautiful and more interesting. Anyway, give us your thoughts and don't forget to subscribe.